As a kid, I had a weird taste. I loved watching comics and dubbed animes, but I also enjoyed the American cheap drama that was available for me. Series like Grey's Anatomy, Desperate Housewives, ER, and most importantly, at least for this video, Monk. For anyone who don't know, Monk is an American TV show about a detective who suffer, this will take a while, OCD, germophobia, claustrophobia, agoraphobia, fear from the crowd, acrophobia, fear from heights, fear from dentist, fear from birds, fear from puppies, yes puppies, fear of vomiting, fear from mushrooms, fear from dead things, fear from sharp objects, and many, many more. He lost his wife in an accident, and all along the whole show, he tried to solve the case of his wife's murder. That is the overarching storyline, but each episode has its own murder case that he solves. As I said, Monk was one of my favorite shows to watch after getting home from school. So, to my surprise, when I hear that they are producing one last case, one special episode, in this year. At first, I was skeptical because in the last episode of the show, they already solved the murder of his wife. And he seems to be getting control over his fears and phobias, and overall, his life is getting better. But hey, who knows, maybe they do it well. Without giving away spoiler, we see Monk return, struggling more than ever with his OCD and phobias, but this time, it felt justified. Unlike recent movies or series that often when they do one last movie or one last special episode, they usually depict the protagonist in this mental state for no apparent reason, or they usually show him in a pathetic, sad, very weak state. But Monk's return to his old ways made so much sense in the show's context. The humor of this last episode is on point. Classic Monk humor. It's amazing how Tony Shalhoub can do all of these little funny gags while keeping the integrity of his persona. It was amazing, and still is, even in this last episode. We get to see the original cast all grown up, all true to their characters, which has always feel nice to the fans of the show. This last episode introduces some new characters, which is honestly, I was not the biggest fan. The main villain and the murderer was too... I'm not sure what the exact word to describe him is, but I would say a cartoony, comic villain that does not feel real at all. More like a parody of a very rich, condescending British villain. The murder case itself was not worthy of a final case episode. For me, it just felt like a weekly crime. The writing was lazy for the crime. It relied too much on lucky events, someone being there at the right time and place, and even the moment of the reveal was not satisfying at all. The strong points of this episode was the cast itself and their interaction between each other. Another thing that was present was that the modern times and political events did not have any effect on the show itself. There were no unwanted distractions. And the ending was great, especially the last scene was heartwarming and befitting of a farewell for this show. Overall, despite some of the bad points, the episode itself is really worthy of wrapping up this series. We get to see Monk doing his thing one last time, which is always a pleasure to watch. The episode also offers a nostalgic reunion with the characters we haven't seen in 15 years, a delightful touch for longtime fans. If you're a fan of Monk, this episode is a must-watch. It's a fitting and engaging end to a beloved series. If you're not, let me tell you more about this episode. Now, time for some spoilers. This is your warning. Let me tell you, this last episode works only because it delves into the consequences of the COVID pandemic on Monk. It explains his mental regression, which is a perfect segue to one last episode. Kudos for the writers on this one. The germs and viruses everywhere has short-circuited his progress. Throughout the episode, there is a consistently serious and dark mood, as we see Monk haunted by visions of his late wife Trudy, hinting at his own thoughts of joining her in death. This was tough to watch. And what made it worse is how blatantly Monk shows signs of giving up, yet no one around him seems to notice. Thankfully, after solving the murder of this episode, Monk finds a renewed sense of purpose. This conclusion might feel a bit underwhelming, but the execution of the last scene was so brilliantly done, as Monk encounters visions of all of the dead victims whose killers he helped catch, and they implore him to continue his work, making for an emotional and rewarding way to end this series. In this episode, we've introduced two main new characters, each play a unique role, but honestly, both equally disappointing. First, there's the antagonist, Rick Eden, who is described as a fusion between Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. However, his characterization falls flat due to a lackluster writing. As a wealthy billionaire, you'd expect more sophisticated or cunning approach from him, especially in how he commits murder, but unfortunately, his actions lacks creativity and depth, and his personality is not even worthy of a villain in a kids show. Each time he appears on the screen, I just feel cringe and tempted to fast forward his scenes and performance. Then we have Trudy's daughter, another central figure in this episode. Her performance unfortunately doesn't quite hit the mark. This especially becomes obvious in the aftermath of her fiancé's murder. Her reaction, or lack thereof, feels so unrealistic and emotionally disconnected. After his murder, she appears in casual clothes, discussing the murder without any visible emotional impact. This portrayal makes her character seem hollow and unrelatable. This was a significant flaw, as the murder of her fiancé was supposed to mirror the death of Trudy and its impact on Monk. Anyway, enough talking about the annoying characters, and let's talk about the OG cast. Natalie, Randy, Dr. Nevin, and the ever-reliable Captain truly shine in this episode. They do an excellent job backing up Monk, adding layers to the story that makes it more enjoyable to watch. Their interaction with Monk provide a perfect blend of humor and heartfelt moments. Even after 15 years, they still have the charisma to support each other and bring depth and warmth to the show. In summary, the final episode of Monk presents a mixed bag of elements. While it struggles with certain elements, it's not without its redeeming quality. The heart of the episode lies in its core cast. Their performances bring the classic essence of what made Monk the big show it was. Mr. Monk Last Case does a commendable job bringing back our beloved detective for one last ride that feels authentic and believable. This creates a bittersweet farewell to this show one more time. It's moments like these that will linger with us, the audience, serving as a reminder of the journey we've shared with these characters and reminding us of a better time. As always, thank you for watching. Usually, I stick to mangas and animes, but shows like this are as close to my heart. Make sure to subscribe and bye.